Oh my goodness. You gotta love the live streams when you are hustling a little bit too much maybe. And then you jump on and you're like, oops, I got like mascara stuck in my eyeball. I did not stop and look in the mirror that I just got done cleaning. But the master bathroom's clean, so I feel so much better. And today I was sitting out here and I was doing my morning meditation and appreciation exercises and taking care of my garden and all that good stuff. And I just had this realization around hustle energy and what hustle energy really is, you know. And my mentor coach, she's always talking hustle, hustle, hustle. You got to do the hustle, all that kind of stuff. And to me, the word hustle has always meant work. It's always meant like get in there and just grind that shit out and just hustle and sell and do this and do that. And you know, like if you're in an MLM, to recruit, to do all these kinds of things. And I've learned over the course of the last probably 4 years that that's not what hustle energy is at all. Hustle energy is nothing more than being activated, being vibrant, living what you're preaching and doing, and really truly like thriving and living life and in that total enjoyment. And noticing that your hair is really messed up. But so I'm just gonna like be messing with my hair here because it's like totally messed up. So yeah, so hustle energy, and I was sitting here and I was just thinking about like I've had this overall hustle energy over the last year for sure. Very, very unfocused, focused hustle energy. And that's where the magic has been. Like it has just been so beautiful to witness this like consistent hustle of energy and movement and action and joy and appreciation and literally speaking in what I want to manifest. And then of course watching the magic happen and seeing that it's just manifesting. It's just manifesting, you know, from everywhere from saying that my client books are full, that that my workshops are full, that my clients are turned on, motivated, my clients are doing phenomenal work, that they're having phenomenal success, to how my garden grows, you know, and the abundance of my garden. And I mean literally my garden, like it's just freaking going crazy. All right, I don't know, let me just show you my crazy ass watermelons. Like I have some babies hidden in here, but oops, hold on. But look at these watermelons. Like this is all watermelon. Is that not crazy? My little garden, and that's all watermelon. I think the watermelon is actually taking out my cantaloupe. The cantaloupe didn't have a chance. The cantaloupe's like, yep, nope, not happening. You know? And then, I mean, look at this. All of this growth, right? I mean, like, tomato plant, humongous. I've got others on the other side of my house. There are all the spices just growing, growing, growing. And I don't do anything special, right? They get sun, they get water, they got fertilized a bit ago. But you know what I do? Every single morning, I don't think about appreciating them. I just appreciate. I just sit in appreciation while I'm watering. I sit in appreciation and do my meditation out here and just stare at them and just feel authentically appreciative of my life. And that's part of that hustle flow. That's part of really just getting in there and developing the energy around it. And I realized this morning as I was talking to my partner, I was telling him, I was like, you know, what means the most to me is my freedom. Freedom is everything to me. In every subject area of my life, freedom is everything to me. And when I start getting controlled, I've never been a person that likes control. I hate being controlled. You want to see me rebel? You want to see me retreat? You want to see me drop something like a hot potato, become absolutely flaky and horrible at something? Try to control me. You control me and all of a sudden I will blow up my universe with control. I'm just not one of those people that does well with being told, like, here, you must show up at this time, you must do this, you must look this way, you must act that way, this is the rules. I'm like, that doesn't apply to me. Seriously, doesn't apply to me. Like, whatever, you guys can have your rules, it doesn't apply over here. And I've been like that since I was a little girl. Like, I just never, maybe it was because of the way my parents, the way I grew up, the freedom, the flexibility that I had, the non-traditional growing up that I had, all that kind of stuff. but I can tell you that I hated it when I was controlled. I was a good student. I never got into trouble. I was, that A+ honor roll student that did everything by the books and it had everything going like that, but I hated every single moment of it. And as soon as I got out there and I started a career, I went and I got this job, and I used to work at Circuit City. I worked at Circuit City for about 4 or 5 months. That's the only job that I'll actually claim to having, because I never really had any other job. I did property management for about 6 years after Circuit City. Circuit City. Loved Circuit City? No. Hated Circuit City. Absolutely hated being an employee. Oh my God. That's what a job was? $6.28 an hour. 40 hours of my time. My 2-week checks were 600 and some odd bucks, for 2 weeks of my time. And here I was, 17, 18 years old, freshly out of high school, because I graduated at 16 and a half. And see, I didn't like being controlled in school, so I figured out how to get out of school early. And I did what I needed to do to get out of school, and boom, I was done with it. I'm done with this control. Got a big girl job, because that's what I needed to do. Went and got that big girl job. Lasted 4 or 5 months at the big girl job. Ended up, of course, in the midst of it, I ended up getting engaged and was planning my wedding. And then when I got hired on at Circuit City, they told me, yeah, of course you're getting married. You can have a honeymoon. You can have a wedding day, right? And they gave me my wedding day, and they told me that I had to be back at work 2 days after my wedding day. I didn't have time for a honeymoon, so I told them to fuck off. That's what I did. I just was like, fuck you guys. I don't need this. It's not enough. I'll figure it out. That's it. So I quit. I quit before I really even ever got started. They were like, oh no, you'd be great in management. You'd be great with this, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I didn't care. You know what? I was good at the sales process. Sold large appliances, refrigerators, and stoves and dishwashers and all that cool shit. Not really at all. But I can still probably tell you a lot about refrigerators and dishwashers and everything. It comes into use every now and then. But yeah, I told them just like, I'm done with this shit. Not going to be controlled. And then I went off and I found property management, and I fell in love with property management because once I figured that was definitely the way to go, because I had freedom, and I didn't mind working with people. I didn't mind having the phone calls and showing the apartments and running a team and doing those kinds of things. Loved that. Loved my freedom. Loved having my hours and being able to run around and be mom and do the things that I wanted to do, and it was really, really good. I had a couple bosses over the course of time that tried to take those rights away from me, my responsibilities of like just being able to run everything. And you know what I did? I told them to fuck off. I did. I quit those jobs. Those were like those little flashes in the pan of me moving positions and everything. And then when I found something that really worked, that resonated, I just hung out and I built it, and I had fantastic people that were renting from me, and knew how to keep community and knew how to build that little community around those apartment complexes, whether they were 36 units or 500 units. It didn't much matter. I was just good at that stuff. And then went off, and finally broke away from that and just decided to be a stay-at-home mom for quite a long time. And did that, and then built other businesses. And into my life came a coaching, right? Where I discovered, oh my God, here's where it's at. Here's where I can do whatever the fuck I want, with the people that I want, when I want, how I want, and I get to create my life. I truly get to create my life. And it took me a while to develop. I fell in love, but it took me a while to develop the confidence to actually step into that calling, into that love affair that I have with my work today. And over the course of time, my practice has changed and changed and changed. But there's always been this hustle there. And the hustle that I have not learned to appreciate until the last 4 or 5 years of my coaching practice. But I'm really, really enjoying and savoring currently. And that's where we're at. That's why we're having this conversation today, because as I was doing everything and I'm just like, there's all this hustle stuff going on, I was just realizing, I'm like, it's so powerful, because this is really truly where the magic is. When we are turned on, when we are passionate, and when we think about it, like, what is the thing that we all want? We all want, as a human being, we want certain things. We want to feel love, give love, right? We want connection and love, but we want those things because we believe that they're going to make us happy, right? So all the actions, all the things that we do is because we want happiness. And it's really hard to gain happiness when we're not happy, when we're doing all the things that make us not happy, like working at Circuit City. Didn't make me happy. Guess what? I wasn't a happy person. I wasn't happy with my body. I wasn't happy with my relationship. I wasn't happy with my money because my money was shit because I was not happy. Right? I hated what I was doing. It was a hustle of like, it was just like putting my head down. It was doing the grind, the daily grind. And I absolutely hated it. And I remember my now ex-husband pulling on my feet like I was a little kid and saying, you have to get up, you have to go to work, and it was like, I had to be at work by 8:00 and I hated getting up in the mornings. Now I'm up, most days I'm up at 5:55, 6:00 in the morning, and I come out and I'm doing my things. By 6:15, I got my coffee, I've watered my plants, I'm sitting down and I'm doing my meditation. I've had my day planned out since the night before, and I'm looking forward to the day ahead of me. I'm looking forward to the people that I'm experiencing and sharing with in that day. I'm looking forward to building content. I'm looking forward to sharing different pieces, and it is just fucking phenomenal to be able to not only survive, but really make a killer income and touch this world in so many different ways by just being me, by sharing, by voicing my thoughts, my opinions, my education, the lessons that I've learned, the things that I've noticed, the patterns that I see, and helping other people to develop themselves to that happy state. But at the end of happiness, what are we really going for? Now here's where we go, right? This is all part of the hustle energy, right? We're looking for happiness. We want everything that we want, all the actions that we take, wanting money, wanting relationship, wanting sex, wanting, a better job, wanting a house, a car, blah, 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 blah. Whatever we're looking for, right? Because we're all wanting. We're wanting. And it's always going to remain that way, by the way. If you think that the wanting's ever going to go away, yeah, get that one out of your head. You're always going to want for something more. As soon as you get what you want, you will want for something more. That is your natural human just characteristic, okay? That's the way we've been developed. That's how we continue to evolve and expand. And the universe, God expands and evolves through us by our wanting. Okay, so that's how evolution happens from a mental, spiritual, energetic level. That's how it happens through our wanting, through your wanting. You are expanding and evolving the whole universe. No pressure, right? So get wanting. So we're happy. We want our happiness, but what are we wanting on the other side of that? Happiness. It's also freedom, right? Who wants somebody else's fucking thumb on them? Like, who's actually goes excitedly and says, please, please control me. Please, please tell me exactly what to do with my day. Tell me exactly how much money you think I'm worth and how many hours I need to give for the money that you think I'm worth. Tell me how you think that I should be, how my relationship be. Tell me what's going to make me happy there. That's what I want. I need you to control my relationship. I need you to control my sex. I need you to control my money. I need you to control my thoughts. I need you to control my feelings. I don't want to be responsible for any of it. That's what's going to make me the happiest, is to not be responsible for anything. I want you and you and you and you and you and you and all these other parties to actually control me. Like, that sounds fun, right? That sounds exhausting. It sounds absolutely exhausting. It sounds horrible. Living life according to exactly what somebody else deems right for you. Yet, here's the thing. What do we do as human beings? This is exactly how we live. We live our life according to how others deem we should, right? We base our value on how others value us, instead of valuing ourselves enough to just live the life that we want. And that's sad. That's really, really sad. And here's the thing. At our core, we know that. We absolutely know that that's not how we're built. That's why we are so lost. That's why we feel these voids. That's why we feel hatred and anger and rage and bitterness and resentment. That's why we can't forgive. That's why we feel jealousy. That's why we have all these different things going on, is because we are constantly turning ourselves over to somebody else. We're constantly turning our lives over to what others think we should or should not have. And then we sit back and we wonder why we're depressed and why we're angry and why we feel empty and why we feel lost and why we're not fucking happy. Why we don't know ourselves. And it's because we don't know ourselves that we're getting this. Because we're not allowing ourselves to see ourselves. We're not actually leaning in and saying yes to ourselves. Because 99.99999%, all right, 100% of people, I'm just going to go with it. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. I really don't. On this one, I really don't think I'm wrong. I really believe that everybody wants happiness. I really do believe that everybody wants their freedom, wants to be able to make decisions for themselves, that do not want to, have everything decided for them, because that doesn't lead to happiness. And we want happiness. That's what we're here for, is to enjoy our lives, to truly enjoy our lives. So, hustle. Hustle, 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 hustle energy. Where does it start? It starts with slowing the fuck down, actually. Hustle energy is about slowing down. Hustle energy is about tapping into you. Hustle energy is about getting right with you. Hustle energy is about speaking your yes and your no and being authentic about it. Hustle energy is not accepting any longer the things that do not line up for you, the things that make you go, ugh, ugh. Yeah, I keep doing that. Yeah, I keep doing it, but it makes me feel like shit. Yeah, I keep doing that, and I keep asking for somebody else to tell me my worth. Yeah, I keep doing that, and I keep going, but how does that make it? How do you perceive me? Yeah, I keep doing that over there, but that makes my body feel like shit too. Yeah, I keep doing that, but man, that's not serving me either. That makes me feel like shit too. Well, that's where we gotta go. We gotta start by stopping those things, by stopping those actions, those thoughts, that desire to get permission from somebody else for being us. You want to level up your life? You want to live a high vibe life? You want to speak into existence the things that you really truly want, the things that you know at your core are going to make you happy? Well, then you got to get right with you, and you got to stop asking permission of everybody else to be you. That's just never going to work. Okay? It's not going to lead you to your happiness. It's not going to lead you to your magical, everything that you want and build the life that you want in any subject area. Okay? It's just not going to do it. Next up, we got to get grateful. We've got to have appreciation for the life that we have, because we all have amazing lives. And I mean all, okay? Even if we have been blessed with some horrible issue in our world, because right now there's a lot of shit going on, right? Our world is topsy-turvy. There's a lot of stuff. But can you imagine if everybody flipped their energy from the topsy-turvy, anger, hatred, rage out there and started to appreciate the fucking air in their lungs and the world that we live in? Can you imagine the energy that the world would start to take on if we all started to take responsibility for our actions? Instead of speaking all this stuff that we don't really believe, instead of feeling pressured to speak stuff that maybe doesn't align to us, or maybe it does, but what we're doing for everything, for the perception of that, but actually started to take responsibility for our actions. Because here's the thing. We can speak a lot of words. Words don't teach. Words don't change shit unless we actually believe them, unless we're actually taking action on them. It's what you do, okay? Actions always speak louder than words. That's the proof in the pudding, is right there. And if you're sitting back and you're one of these people that is on Facebook or social media or out there and you're preaching all this kind of stuff, but you're just spending your time preaching it and you're actually not living it, you're not taking action, you're going, yeah, well, we have all these problems in our world and there's all this hatred, but then when you walk out into the grocery store, you pull a mean mug to every single person that you see and you jump back 16 15 feet because you're scared that they're going to kill you because they might have COVID because they don't have a mask on. So you give them a hatred look, but then you jump on your Facebook account and you go, oh, everybody's love, we're all love, we're this, we're that. Well, that's a bunch of bullshit, okay? Don't go preaching that. Let's just get real. Let's own our shit right now. Let's get real. You're stuck actually in the fear. You're actually stuck in the scarcity. You're stuck in all that kind of stuff. So that's what you're actually doing, right? Because that's where you're coming from. That's where your belief structure is. Maybe you want to look like one of the people that's out there living and doing and making connections and being a light in the world. But if you're not, then you're not. Okay? All the words on the planet are not going to change who you are. Okay? When I say speak it into action, when we are hustling, when we are in that energy, to speak something into the real world, to manifest it through our words, means that the words are not just words. They are coming from a deeper place. They are coming from our core, from our soul. And we are speaking those words out because that's the way we're living. That's the things that we are doing when nobody's looking. Okay? We're not looking for the pats on the back. We're not looking for the support. We're not looking for all this different kind of stuff, right? What we're actually doing is us. And that's just who we are. So we don't need all of the outside validation. What we do is what we do for us. Can you imagine if you actually lived a life of appreciation? If you actually smiled at people? If you actually were not scared to death of your fellow human beings, no matter their age, their race, what they're wearing, anything, that you just weren't scared of them? That you actually could appreciate them for being a child of God just like you? Imagine that. Wow. We could do a lot of healing right there. So the hustle energy comes to appreciation. The hustle energy comes to our actions, speaking louder than words. And that when we do use our words, that we are using the words that are coming from our core, from our soul, because that's the way we are when nobody's looking. Okay, that's the things that we really truly believe. That's the things that we really truly align with. And that they're based on us creating happiness inside of ourselves because we're so fucking in alignment that we're just happy. We're just so turned on to life that we're just happy. And things are manifesting and it is magical because this is us. And we are speaking us to the world. To everybody that there goes my hair to everybody that we are actually coming in contact with. Or just to our garden, right? Because you know what? Every morning when I sit back here and I listen to, and I do my meditation and I listen to my positive vibe stuff and I water my garden and I drink my coffee, I'm the only person in my backyard. And the things that I'm feeling, I'm not needing validation for. Much like the little girl who many years ago wasn't looking for validation in school, yes, was a good student, but wasn't really needing the validation in school. And throughout all my coaching, I see a lot of people that, this is definitely a human thing, that we need validation because we're raised to believe that we are here for the use of another, that we need that validation of other people to be us, to feel the way we feel, to look the way we look, to think the way we think, that we need somebody else's permission, because that's what validation is. Validation equals permission of another person for us to be who we are. Okay? So if you're one of those constantly needing validation people, that's got you hung up right there. That's a big time hook in your manifestation powers, we'll just call them, okay? And it's definitely not the hustle energy. When we're hustling, when we're doing, we're blowing and we're going and we're not needing validation because we're so turned on, we're so ignited, we're so pumped up, we're so in the flow that we're just flowing and we just feel it. We know it. It's happening. It is. It just is. And validation doesn't matter in those moments. We don't need it. Validation shows that we are having a weak moment, that we are insecure in some fashion, that there's been a negative train of thought that's been moving through us and is now moved into our emotional bodies, and now we're feeling lost, now we're feeling insecure, now we're looking for permission to be us, to think the way we think, to feel the way we think, and to do the actions that we want to do. And God forbid somebody say, oh, I don't know if I agree with that. Because then what? We're gonna tilt towards that person. We're gonna tilt towards their life. We're like, really? Really, you don't think I should do that? Well, I wouldn't do it that way. And then all of a sudden, we don't do it that way. But we were so turned on to it when we were feeling good. And we were so, in alignment, and it felt so right. But because this one fucking person over here thinks differently than us, God forbid somebody else thinks differently than us. FYI, we all think differently than each other. That's kind of like the thing. But they think a little bit different than us. Their life experiences are different. Their programming's different. Their views on the world is different. And what? So they think differently, and so they say that, and then we go, yeah. And then we sit back and we wonder, why did this not manifest for us? Why am I not happy with this scenario? Why am I not happy with the way this is? Well, maybe it's because you were looking for your happiness to come from somebody else's validation and their permission. And what you were actually needing is to just validate yourself, know your worth, know your values, and actually just lean into you. Because that's all you ever need to do, is lean into you. Stop giving a fuck about what everybody else is thinking about you, what everybody else thinks you should do, their opinions, their judgments, their ideas. Because that's just going to have you chasing an endless circle. And you will never, ever, ever, I cannot stress this enough, you will never be happy. And you will sure as fuck never manifest your thriving life, your vibrant life. So, hustle energy, right? That hustle energy is that living what you want. It is living the way you want. COVID. I'm going to tell you the story, and then I'm going to probably make a little sales pitch, and then I'm going to let you off. And you'll probably quit at the sales pitch, but that's okay. The links are already in the comments. My ninja's on it today. So I'm going to tell you the story. It's a tale of COVID. Kendal's tale of COVID. I have not had COVID. I've been around people that have been tested positive for COVID, by the way. I do not have COVID. I have not had COVID. I actually believe that I got it last year. I was sick for about 2 weeks. Not horribly sick, but definitely something that was hanging in there. And I could, all my holistic stuff helped a little, but everything, it wasn't horribly bad. But I really think that everybody in my household kind of had it, because we all went through ended up being almost a whole month, because there's 3 different households. So I actually believe that. But this whole COVID thing, I see people, they've locked down their lives, right? And we're going to just focus on COVID, because we know that there's a whole bunch of other shit going on out there in our world and the changes and everything. But we're talking about COVID today. So this whole thing got started, blah, blah, blah. The world starts to come down, travel restrictions, home order stuff goes in. Be scared of your neighbors. Be scared of your family. Report people who aren't doing this. Don't go outside, but you need to go outside. All this kind of stuff. Fear-mongering. Nothing, don't take ibuprofen, but do take this. This is working, that's not working. Oh, now this is not working. And this is working, and all the shit that we've all heard. It's all a really, really big circle of crazy, nobody knows, and scientists included, scientists, doctors, nobody really knows what's going on, right? I just heard that mosquitoes are carrying COVID, but then I also heard that mosquitoes can't carry COVID, and I don't know, whatever at this point in time. I don't get bit by mosquitoes very often, so I'm not really worried about the mosquitoes. So, through all this process, I've seen people literally lock themselves up and just make it where they're not living, and they're not talking to anybody, and they're not they're not living. They won't even go out in their own backyard out of fear that COVID's going to blow over the fence and it's going to kill them. And I have done more living through this COVID process than I haven't been able to jump on a plane and go to another country like I normally do, which has been a real bummer to me. But not that big of a bummer, because I found other ways. I've really focused in on, I won't want my children, because I have a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old, 14-year-old, and a 17-year-old in my house. And then I've got 3 other children outside of the house, 21 and 23 and 25 almost. And I've got them outside the house, and then grandbabies too. And I've made it my focus through this whole COVID thing to not let it go down in their personal history books that this was a horrible time in their life where their existence basically stopped. They were locked in their rooms. Their mother was scared to death. They were scared to death. The world was, it was like, you know, Armageddon coming down on us, all this kind of stuff. I made a commitment that that was not going to happen. And of course, I started out by doing little things around the house and respecting the stay-at-home laws and everything. So that's how my garden got started. And we built a boat in the backyard, literally, a boat in the backyard, a playground. Because since the playgrounds got shut down, we brought the playground to the backyard. You know, I completely redid my backyard. I did all this kind of stuff. I worked on organizing some things in my house. We did camping inside the house. We did lots of science projects. We did all this kind of stuff. And then as things moved on, I decided, you know what? Now I'm going to go and I'm going to help other people out. So I started doing VRBOs, and I started helping other people, taking my money and giving it to other people who may not be in as good of a situation. Because in the midst of COVID, my business has fucking skyrocketed, and I have like more money in savings now than when COVID got started. My monthly income has gone up. It's higher than what it was when COVID got started. I'm like, this is awesome. Like, let's keep COVID going. No, not really. But like, my income has grown, and I really truly believe it's because of the hustle and the gratitude and letting that energy go, where it is like, I'm not focusing on the scarcity, I'm not focusing on the fear. Instead, I'm focusing on my abundance, my gratitude, and I'm keeping in that hustle energy of living what I preach, which is what? All about living that fuck yes life. I mean, that's over and over again. I preach to you guys, you can have a fuck yes life. You're worthy of a fuck yes life. You can have all the abundance, you can have the love, you can have the joy, you can have the freedom, you can have it. And what? So it's about living it, right? It's about those actions I was talking about. Actions speak louder than words. And throughout this whole thing, I kid you not, if I showed you my photos on my phone alone, I try to post a little bit, but I don't post it all. And there is just this like massive amount of community, of family love, of, you know, we've gone to the ocean, we've gone into the woods, we've slept in teepees, we've gone ghost hunting, we've gone skydiving, we've gone camping numerous times, we've been morning fishing and night fishing, we've gone on numerous hikes, you know, we've done all of these different things, learned whole new foods and all this kind of stuff, had a magical paint nights and, you know, girls nights and family nights and activities and joy and fires and spiritual meditation moments. I've taught classes throughout this whole thing. I've done it all. Like, my life has probably been more packed with this whole COVID for like the movement of stuff. I feel this momentum in my life, and it has just built and built and built, and I'm in fucking love with it because I'm an action person, and I love that. And I love that my children are going to go through COVID, especially my younger ones, because, you know, when they're 15, 16 years old, they're going to be learning about COVID in school, right? And they're going to look back, and some of their peers are going to go, oh yeah, I remember that was that time when mommy wouldn't let me even go outside and play, and yeah, we couldn't go out, and it was deadly to even go outside, and da 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 da. And my kids are going to go, what are you talking about? Like, man, I remember mom taking us here and us doing this and us doing this and da 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 da. And you know what? We're supposed to thrive. We're not supposed to live in fear. God does not want us living in fear. Actually, if we want to get really biblical about it and go that direction, things that make us go into fear and into the space that we are at in our world is not of God. I believe that says that just maybe a couple times in the Bible, maybe just a couple times over. You know, it might have been one of those things that was preached. So here we are as a world society living outside of that. And for all the Christians out there, right? Well, let's stop. Let's stop living in fear. Let's start thriving. Let's believe that we are a chosen people. And I believe that we are a world of chosen people, and that we are all worthy, and that we are all God's children, and that, you know, we're not to live in fear. We are actually to live in a state of grace, which means compassion, which means self-love. And that we are supposed to live in a state of appreciation, because the air in our lungs is a blessing. It is not something that is, you know, it's not to be expected. It is something that is given to us freely every single day. And every day that we have air in our lungs and we wake up and our hearts are beating and our minds are working and our bodies are working, that is a blessing. And we need to start looking at it like that. And we need to start having compassion, having grace for ourselves, and owning our own shit, because that's how we get grace for ourselves, is to take responsibility for our actions and for our thoughts and for our emotions, and to stop asking for validation from everybody else to be us. Because if we want to thrive, if we want to create magic, then that's what we've got to do. We've got to own us. We got to be responsible for us. And that's what the hustle energy is. It's an energy of living what you're preaching, living your beliefs, living your truth. And that's going to create the magic. That's how you get stuff going. So, Addison, what did you write? It drives me crazy, all the people posting about what a crappy year 2020 has been. No, Susan, that's just the crappy internal thoughts. Yeah, it absolutely is. You know, I had a client message me, and he was talking about his spouse, and he was saying that he believes that she doesn't want to have children because of the mirrors that other people are to us. And because I'm always preaching that the people we draw into our life are there for a reason. They're there to show us where we're at. They're there to show us our inner world and to teach us lessons and to help us heal. And he was telling me about, you know, that he believes that she doesn't want to have children because she doesn't want to have these mirrors around her all the time. And that's really sad to me, because I look at my children and I know that they're my mirrors in different ways, and that I do have to breathe into certain things, and I have to take responsibility in certain ways that I wouldn't be taking responsibility if they weren't there. But whether they're my children or a friend or a lover or a client, it doesn't matter. The people that come into our lives, and the way I look at every person in my life, is that they are a mirror to me, and that when they're showing up and they're thriving and I'm helping them to thrive and they're taking action and I see their joy, that right there, that just says where I'm at, right? That says where my thoughts are at. That says where my actions are at. And when we see other people out there, and I really, I see it, but I just don't give it any time. I don't give it too much energy. I just keep going on because I believe in action. Action, action, action. Let your actions speak louder than your words, right? And when I see those things, yes, it's kind of like, well, you're getting what you're feeling. You're getting what you're thinking. If you're living in scarcity and fear, if you're thinking that you're going to get this, a disease or something bad is going to come upon you. Now, granted, we can all need a little recalibration, and the universe sends us something that isn't too fun. Right? And that's there to recalibrate us. That's there to clear us out in certain ways so that we can actually, grow and expand, because we don't understand the joy and the beauty that we have unless we suffer just a little bit. But that's us drawing it in, because there's some little program back there that's still hung up, one of those little hooks, right? But the people that we attract in, whether they're good or bad, I hear a lot about like narcissistic relationships, and I hear a lot about, all these different things that are going on. And I'm like, yeah, I've been there, experienced that, got that lesson a couple times, and my thick-headedness needed a good, swift baseball bat on that stuff. But then I realized, hey, where am I guilty of this shit? This is where I'm guilty of it. This is what's going on in me. This is where my fear is. This is where my scarcity is. This is where I'm doing. And oh, looky, this is how I attracted this to me. I attracted it to me because of this. And this is the thing that I want you to understand. If you are living in fear, if you are living in scarcity in any subject area of your life, you are not in the correct hustle energy. You are hustling for the enemy. You are not hustling for your soul. You are not hustling for God. You are not hustling for the positive change in our world or in your world as an individual. Okay? You are hustling against yourself because you have lined up with the enemy, whoever you want to call that enemy. Satan, demons, dark energy, blocked energy, whatever. I don't care. It can be any of that. That's what you're hustling for, because that is what fear and scarcity comes from. It comes from the negative. It is a low vibe, and you will continue to manifest low vibe things that bring you suffering and pain, as long as you are in support of that low vibe, which means living in fear and scarcity, which is why in the Bible it says that fear is not of God, okay? That we have to stand in courage, and that we have to speak from that space as well, and to focus in on the light, you know? So, there you go. I guess that ended up being more of a preachy conscious coffee than where I was going with it, but it still comes down to the hustle, because that's where the magic is. In manifesting and creating the lives that we want, and thriving and living that fuck yes life, you've got to be happy first. You've got to feel the feeling before you reap the physical manifestation of it. You want to have freedom in your life, then you got to feel free first off. And I can tell you what, scarcity and fear will never make you feel free. If you want to be happy, then you've got to feel happy first. You got to be happy with where your life is at, who you are, and that means getting right with yourself and kind of staring some of those demons down, right? Seeing those and going, okay, I see that, because the more you allow yourself to see those negative things, the more you can have grace for yourself and compassion, and love yourself through it, and then you're going to be happier with you. So, no matter what you do, you want your relationship to change, you want to have love in your life, you want to have money in your life. Well, as long as you're focused on not having money and love, then guess what? You're going to get more of. It's kind of just like that. What you focus on does grow. And that means if you're focused on, my bank account's empty, I'm in the hole, I only have this much money, and you're constantly telling everybody that you only have that much money, well then, no duh, that's exactly what you're going to get. If you're constantly going, oh no, I can't ever find the right person, all I ever date is this, blah 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 blah, or nobody's interested in me, or blah 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 blah, well then that's exactly what you're going to get, right? And tell you what, like I said, through COVID, my business has grown, has multiplied. I have 3 freaking new applications. I went camping for one night and fishing and all this kind of stuff, kayaking the other day. I came back to 3 applications in my inbox, and people asking me for consults, and people going, no, I need to meet with you right now. And other people going, how do I pay you? And I'm like, well, guess what? I wasn't worried about that, because I'm happy, because I feel free. I feel free. And as I told my lover this morning, I said, freedom to me is just that. It's the ability to, that little girl who never wanted to be controlled, and the high school student who had to get out of school because she couldn't be controlled and didn't want it, and then couldn't hold a job because she couldn't be controlled, and then felt control in her marriage, so quit that one too. It was like quit, and that's because I didn't want to be controlled, because I couldn't feel my freedom, and I didn't have the abundance either going for me financially, and I didn't feel loved either, because I felt controlled. I wasn't happy. I didn't feel free. And the more free I feel, the more love I get, the more joy I have, the more beautiful opportunities present themselves, and guess what? The more fucking money goes into my bank account. Half the time I don't even know where it's coming from. I was like, where'd that come from? Oh, cool. And, I'm like, woo, whatever, because I'm not focused on it. Can you imagine that? Not focusing on it because you don't have to, because there's more than enough with so much plenty left over that you're like, there you go. Because that's what freedom is. That's the reason why we want money, by the way, because we want to be able to do the things that we want to do, how we want to do them, where we want to do them, when we want to do them. That's why we want money. Money gives us the opportunity to live a freedom-based life. And I know I take a lot of hits all the time. People have told me, you don't work for free. You don't work for free. I do work for free. I do conscious coffees. I write articles. I share content. I give stuff away when I feel called to give stuff away. I do free workshops, all that kind of stuff, And that's the free stuff. And that's me giving, because guess what? Me giving makes me feel good. And I know that I'm touching somebody, and I'm sharing a message every now and then that is exactly the right time for somebody out there in the world. And when they get it, it's life-shifting for them. It gives them hope. It gives them courage. It gives them support. So, work for free? No. You want one-on-one with me? No. That's paid, right? Because that's my world. That's how I run. This is how you get that deeper, that more intense, more love, more ass kicking. Yeah. On that note, look in the comments section. I'm doing 6 foot COVID 6 foot COVID walks in Plano at Arbor Hills, getting people out and about, getting them moving for consultations. It is so nice to just take a nice breezy walk with somebody and have the conversations and do the walk. But of course, there is also the opportunity to do phone calls and Facebook Live Messenger if you are not local or if that makes you feel safer. And also in office is available as well. I do have a couple coaching spots that are still available, and then you will be seeing some beautiful opportunities coming out for different group experiences and workshops coming out as well. I do have a massive amount of workshops coming out in the face of everything else. Like I said, there's beautiful, beautiful workshops. So go to my events page on my website at kendalwilliams.com and make sure that you click on events and look for the events that are coming up, because we have Cock Connection coming up for men. We have Orgasm Camp coming up for both sexes, but teaching on female sexuality. We have our Oral Intimacies class, which is teaching, guess what, on the yumminess of oral sex for him and for her. Okay, so we're talking about both sides there. I've got Sex Magic coming out for singles and couples, where I'm going to be teaching some of the tantric skills around sex magic. And as sexy as sex magic might sound to you, it's a manifestation class, okay? And it is talking about how you use your sexual energy to manifest the life that you want to live. And then I have my quantum integration round 2 of level 1 coming out as well, which people have already signed up. I mean, I tell you what, I went away, I went camping, got 3 applications in, and we opened up my PayPal was going ding, 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 and I was out of service, so I come back into service, my PayPal's all ding, 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 and I had like $1,500 in there that I didn't have the morning before, and I was like, where did this money come from? And I'm going and people signing up for workshops and doing all this different stuff. Just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful activity. So those are some of the workshops that are coming up if you are local to the DFW area. Other than that, Oral Intimacies is available to everybody online. There is an online version of this already created, okay? So if you are interested, you want the link to that, message me. I will get you the link to that. That is coming out. There will also be some other classes coming out in the near future and summer and fall as we kind of move through. Right now, I just don't want to do a lot of filming. That's just the way it is. I'm more about out and about and connecting with people, creating smiles and sharing energy with those that I love. So, and on that note, I love you. I hope you know that you are worthy, that you are ready to take the lead in your life and to thrive, because that is what you were born to do, is to thrive. And I will catch you guys tomorrow with another conscious coffee. As always, stop existing, start living. You are worthy of a fuck yes life.